All right, Hustle Fam. We are back with another amazing episode. And we have a very special guest today, Mr. Paul MOSZAK. He is the VP and the big heavy truck enthusiast over at Motor. Paul, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, Rahmel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain at all. So
Good.
A lot of people may recognize the Motor name from the magazine. I know that's how I'm familiar with the company. But you guys are really a data company. Can you tell me about that, Paul?
Sure. It actually stems from over 120 years ago, and it actually started out as a magazine. So I think when William Randolph Hearst created that magazine, he was looking to get more people to buy the magazine. So he put parts information in the back of the book or back of the magazine so they could figure out what parts or what picnic basket they should bring or what bonnets the women should wear so they don't blow away. And that you can imagine 120 years ago, the car park wasn't that big. So it was pretty minimal as far as the parts needed. But as the years have gone by and Ford created the assembly line, then a lot of cars got on the road. So it really turned into a book company after that. So a lot of that information, whether it be parts or repair information or labor times, became hardback books that shops would get in their bookshelves so they could reference repair information. And then obviously from there, 20 years ago or more, we started transitioning over to a data company and working with the technology, obviously, as it's moving so quickly, from whether it be CD-ROMs we used to deliver to customers, and now, via the internet, we have all that data at everyone's fingertips. So it's really the progression over 120 years and to get that data just spread out over the internet. So we are definitely an information company and with various ways of accessing data, but the internet's the key way.
Okay, got it. And when we say the word data, can you be a little bit more specific as to what type of data you guys aggregate over at Motor?
Sure, great question. We're really looking at how do you fix or repair a vehicle? And so what we do is we aggregate the vehicle information for repairs. As I mentioned, it includes the parts information, the labor information, and the actual repair procedures. May also include wiring diagrams, diagnostic codes, anything you need to fix or repair a vehicle. So think of it as an all-encompassing. We have many, I hate to say the word silos, but we have many buckets of data that serve up how the end user can fix or repair a vehicle.
Got it. And who is your typical end user? Who uses the data?
Yeah, so that's wide and varied as well. So about 95% of the quick lube locations in the U.S. use Motor data. So when you go in and they're checking your vehicle capacity and what type of oil, that's our data for the most part. So that's one simple way. We also license parts of our data to different systems providers. So they may have their own widget and they need diagnostic repair information. So they license that data from us and have it within their system. So we do a lot of licensing of our data to customers that are facing the end user. So you said everyone knows about Motor and the Motor magazine. What in reality, a lot of people don't know about Motor, but we're in front of them probably 90% of the time.
All right, y'all. Quick word from our sponsor. Discover the hassle-free trailer leasing experience with Paramount Trailer Leasing, a family-owned business based out of the greater Fort Worth area. With more than 30 years of industry experience, they offer a range of high-quality trailers from flatbeds to dry vans and specialized models designed to meet all of your transportation needs. Enjoy flexible lease terms, competitive rates, and a same-day simple lease leasing process that requires no credit checks and guarantees trailers with no recap tires. Just fill out an online application, have your lease agreement prepared, receive a call to arrange pickup, sign the agreement, hook up, and get on the road all in one day. Visit ParamountTrailerLeasing.com today, and also you get free brakes for the lifetime of your lease just by mentioning Truck and Hustle. All right, y'all, let's go. Whether they know it or not.
Correct.
Got it. Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you? What is your role at Motor currently, and how did you join the Motor team?
Yeah, so just like everybody in the industry nowadays, we all wear a lot of hats. I guess my main job is I manage our account directors, so that's our existing book of business. We have somewhere in the approximation of 500 different customers that we manage, and I have a team of 4 that help me do that are in regions across the U.S. So that's my main purpose every day, to keep them working. But secondarily, as you mentioned, I am the heavy duty evangelist for Motor. So my experience in the industry, I've been doing this since 1996, and I'm involved with some industry standards organizations. And so a lot of it is my knowledge for the industry and helping formulate where our products are going, what our data can do for customers, and then obviously working with the customers as well and figuring out their needs and things like that. So I kind of support as a sales engineer. I'm involved with the product side, and then of course I support my sales team.
You said you've been doing this since 1996, which is what, 30 plus years. How has the industry changed since then?
Really, the technology has just been exponentially fast, changing. It's amazing. You know, we used to carry around little QWERTY keyboards that it was lucky if we got an alert from our server room that something was going on. The internet was pretty young back then, and we didn't. Before 1999, we were actually using DVDs and CD-ROMs to distribute data. And then when the internet came on and the technology was still limited, we started using some internet tools to distribute our data more widespread. And that really was the start of us getting online and going further down the road with the technology and the internet and data as a service.
Got it. And you have actually a pretty interesting story yourself. You actually started out as a business owner before you joined Motor. Can you expound and tell us a little bit about that in the early 90s?
Yeah, there was a team of us that started basically a paperless shop. That's what our goal was. And we went into fleets and said, you know, all these papers that are getting greased up and dropped in puddles and things like that, we can digitize them and give it to you on a computer screen so you can zoom in and zoom out and see all this information in one place. And we'll let you look it up by the equipment number too, so you'll only pull up the information that's available for that piece of equipment. So that really was the start of this company that started FleetCross. And through that, in discovery, we learned that there was a big request for cross-referencing, part cross-referencing in the industry. And this is in the medium and heavy duty space. So it was few and far between as far as cross-referencing, because the dealers want you to come back to them. But these fleets wanted some options. There's different birth to death cycles of a vehicle, and there's certain times you want to spend the big bucks and get warranty, and then at end of life, you don't want to spend the big bucks on parts. So they needed a cross-reference to have that power to control their spend and things like that on parts. So we started building a cross-reference. And that's what we still are building every day today is the industry's largest all makes parts cross-reference. And
what was the name of that business?
FleetCross.
That was FleetCross, and they were acquired. That business was acquired by Motor, correct?
Correct. Yep. So in 2007, Motor acquired FleetCross, and to kind of beef up their heavy duty side, they did. So the Motor as a whole, their first priority was light passenger car, light truck, and medium duty, some medium duty. And so with our heavy duty experience, they acquired us, and it's a little bit different industry. So we were able to come in with a product line. And then with Motor's labor creation, so Motor creates their own labor times in the industry from small vehicle passenger cars up to trucks. We started marrying labor and parts together. And then we started gathering repair information. So even in these printed books, there were repair procedures for heavy and medium duty trucks. So we started aggregating that into a database and then setting that up so we could have the three basic pillars: parts, labor, and service, anything you need to fix or repair a vehicle for medium and heavy duty. So, and then we're expanding more and more all the time as we get more information and work with the standards that the light duty side has been working with for years, and we standardize the heavy duty side as well.
Got it. And when they acquired your company, they also got you as a part of the deal.
Yep. They were stuck with me. So I guess they needed some experience.
When you joined the motor organization, what was your top priority?
Top priority, grow revenue.
Okay.
We had to prove ourselves, right? So we were an acquisition. Obviously, it cost them money, and we had to pay them back. And that was really our goal. And I think we've done that, and we did it pretty quickly as well. So we've been growing exponentially, double digit, ever since 2007. So it's been I feel it's been a great acquisition for Motor, and I feel we've been really successful in helping them succeed in what their goals are.
Got it. So let's get into the data, right? The data that you guys provide. So as you said, you guys provide data for cars, right? As well as heavy duty, but let's talk heavy duty since this is Truck and Hustle. Can you give me very specifically the types of data that you guys are kind of aggregating on a regular basis, and kind of how that data is aggregated, how you gather that data, and then how you translate that data to your end users?
Sure. So it's quite a process, but I can kind of summarize it pretty quickly. So
sure.
If you think of those three pillars that I spoke of, it's labor time. So what does it take to do the repair? It's repair information. So procedures, wiring diagrams, like a service manual, and then parts information. So parts information in the medium and heavy duty industry, that's gathered from the suppliers of the parts, the makers of the parts, and the original equipment manufacturers of the vehicles. So everything stems from the vehicle because that's what we're working on to keep it on the road. That's where the parts are being replaced. So we're constantly acquiring parts information from various part manufacturers that provide that information. And then obviously we're fulfilling a cross-reference need in there. So it ties back to the vehicle manufacturer as well as other competitive parts. So that's just a continuous feed of information. We have a team here, our content team, that continues to feed the cross-reference. On the labor side, we build our own. So Motor is known for over the last 80 or 90 years building their own labor times. We had a red book for medium and heavy and a blue book for light duty. And it was considered real world labor time. So it's not warranty related. It's actually created by our subject matter experts. We do time studies. We go to garages and do different things to verify the time. And we also let end users input on times as well. Like if they find a time that's totally off from what they're finding, we'll do a study specifically with them and for them to correct the labor time. So we develop that labor time ourselves, and that's distributed to any repair facility or any repair system. So think of it as it could be going to a system like a fleet management system or a dealer management system that needs labor time. So that could be distributed to them. And then the same thing, kind of this companion to that, are the repairer information, the wiring diagrams, the diagnostic codes, the specifications, similar to oil, how much goes in it, things like that. So all of that is aggregated and also sent and distributed to various companies that may distribute it to their end users. So we do have a couple products ourselves. On the heavy duty side, we have a user interface. We still call it FleetCross, but it holds those three modules: parts, labor, and service. So, and that's used across many aspects of the industry. Probably our two biggest users are the dealer groups for medium and heavy duty trucks, and then the warehouse distributors in the aftermarket who sell parts. So those are our largest customers on the cross-reference side. And then invariably, because of the labor and service, if they do service, they can get labor information or repair information.
Got it. Thank you for that. How many different OEMs do you guys work with? And well, I guess we could start there.
Right. So we work with all of them. Essentially, when you say OEM, there's a few different clarifications. So there's a vehicle OE. So we work with, if not all of them, most of them, especially in the light duty. We have arrangements with them. And then in the heavy duty, we're working with the four majors that are in the US. And then on the part side, we're working with a large group. So there's probably, I think, 20,000 different manufacturers out there. Some manufacture one part, some manufacture thousands of parts. We work with all of them. And of course, depending on resources and market coverage and things like that. So there's priorities, but we work with all of them to get that information in and clear it up for the end user.
And why does it benefit the manufacturers to work with you and share their data with Motor?
Well, for the part manufacturers especially, it gives them exposure into the industry. So you can imagine they have a sales team that goes out to part sellers and say, hey, I have this part. I want you to sell it for me. That's great. But how does it fit into the industry? What does it replace? What vehicles does it go on? How do we use it in the industry? So we help them with that. And we show them in a cross-reference. So the industry, if they have arrangements, they can see that information, or the end users can see that information from that supplier. And that's really important.
Got it. And are there ever any conflicts of interest with working with so many different manufacturers and them, maybe feeling uncomfortable about their data being shared amongst each other?
Yeah, it used to be like that for sure. 10, 15 years ago, we would have conversations. They say, well, if their data is in there, I'm not putting my data in there, or I'll only go in there if they're not, meaning their competitor. And we would just talk them through and say, you need to concentrate on making the part, providing a good warranty, providing good service, and obviously making a good part that works in the industry. Everything else will come out in the wash. So we always consider ourselves Switzerland. We're neutral. We're not promoting one brand or one manufacturer over another. We let the industry decide. And they're going to decide based on those elements I just said, support and warranty of the product. So it's not us. It's their product still being the deciding factor.
Got it. And then you mentioned the labor times. How do you guys actually come up with those standardized labor times? How do you come up with those times?
Yeah, I mentioned our subject matter experts. So we have SAE technicians on staff that do time studies, or they've done repairs before, so they know what they've taken. since we've been doing it for a long time, we have a lot of legacy information, so we can do comparisons. If things have changed, obviously we have to do a time study. If they stay the same, those will be carried forward. But there's always a review of it, and it's really our subject matter experts developing that time. And like I said, it's real world time. It has nothing to do with warranty. So it's, what does it take to get the truck into the bay, up on the lift, and to do that repair. And that's really what we're measuring and creating these labor times.
And the shops just adapt those times. How do they use it, the information?
Yeah, so we consider it an all makes labor time. So it's across all different makes of vehicles. So a brake job on one type of truck may be a little different than a brake job on a different type of truck because of some ancillary parts that may have to be removed or things like that. So they're not necessarily 100% the same, doing job for job on a truck. So it gives them really visibility in the industry. And because Motor is so well known for creating their own labor times, we're a standard in the industry, is a lot of systems providers that use our data use it as a standard and say, hey, we use Motor's standard labor times. And it's industry measured across, the years we've been doing it, and they're known as very accurate labor times. So it gives them an opportunity to give a standard to their end users to say, this is the standard. Allows them to do a bunch of things. Labor can really help. Probably heard there's technician shortage in this industry.
For sure.
We hear it every year. It's one of the top 5 complaints. So what if you could incentivize your technicians? Well, how do you incentivize them? Well, you have to know what the standard is. What should it take? So this gives them a bogey, or like a colleague of mine says, the par for the golf course. How do you know how good you're doing unless you know what you should be doing on this golf course? So same thing with labor. So if you get a labor time and you have a technician that's supposed to take 2 hours, he takes 3 hours. Well, that does a couple things. Gives you an opportunity to train them. You don't want to fire them because you hired him. You went through all that. You want to train him and get him better at what he's doing. And that also makes him feel more attached to the company as well, so you don't lose him. And then eventually he's going to beat the time. And there you can start to give him incentives, whether it's a picnic every Friday or gift cards or a bonus. However the company does it, they at least have something to measure by. That's the importance of the labor time.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. With information becoming so accessible and available to people, right? How do you guys protect your IP and all this information that you've gathered over the years?
Diligently. So, yeah, the information is out there. But one thing that we do is we add standardization to it. And it's tied to industry standards, whether it's the AutoCare or whether it's VMRS. It's all tied to industry standards. So yes, you could probably find some of this information, but it's in a bucket of other information. So is this, for example, a part? Is it a brake drum or is it a washer and dryer part, right? So if you're searching in general terms, how do you know that? Well, we are specific in the vehicle industry. That's our focus, and that's what we focus on, and that's what we standardize and make it simple to use. And we kind of keep those walls around that to make sure that it's the right data for the right job. Got it.
How have you used technology to improve on what you guys are working on?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, I don't think you can get through a conversation without using the buzzword of AI or machine learning, and we're in the middle of it. I just took 2 classes this week as our parent company is pushing us very, very hard to start and we already have for probably the last 5 years, start using machine learning and then artificial intelligence to do some of this joining of data, right? So I spoke about parts, labor, service. They're separate entities. How do we tie them together? Well, with our standardization is one way. So that's how we do it for our customers. But now what else can we do with the data? So now when you have this machine learning and these large capacity servers that can do jobs that would be manual for us, they could start to do it intelligently and making possibly new products, or at least better organizing the data we have. So there's a lot that's going on, and we're right on the cusp. Like I said, it's a huge initiative from our parent company, Hearst, that is pushing down AI classes to make us use them in our everyday process, and we are.
Has technology created any challenges for you guys?
Well, I think technology always is a double-edged sword. It can be positive and negative. So you can do a lot of things with technology, and you can make the data better. You can do all these things, but also the other side of it, technology makes it very easy to maybe get outside our walls, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
So we have to be very cognizant of that and be very mindful of shepherding that data and keeping it concise in our walls to make sure that it's up to our standards and able to grow into the technology future. So, yep, there's always technology can always be negative as well. So you just have to look out for it and plan for it. And we have a great team that does it.
Yeah. Can you give me a real world example of how Motors data helped maybe a carrier out, or maybe helped somebody, on their bottom line, save some money, any type of cost savings or anything like that?
Sure. And since we're talking about heavy duty for the most part, and the main heavy duty product is our cross reference, I'll tell a little story about the cross reference. So there's a major fleet that when we were first starting out, and this was actually before motor acquisition, we were working with a fleet and trying to make a name for ourselves. So we were doing a lot of samples, and they were providing us data, and we were trying to prove to them that we could do what we said we could do, and that was to consolidate and help them fine tune their master parts database. And we went through a bunch of tests, and we actually found one part number that if you use like the mean price of that part number, it would save them $1 million in 1 year, at least, if they were just to choose a couple suppliers of that part. So what we found is through our data work. So not only do we have a cross-reference, we do professional services that work with customized data. And what we did for them is we said, give us your data, and we're going to do overlap studies to see where you're buying this all across the country. And you can imagine there's many different suppliers across the country. There's different price ranges across the country. And what we were able to show is, well, you're buying it from 30 different suppliers at 30 different price ranges. If you just pick a couple, maybe not the cheapest, because you still want a good warranty and service and everything, you could pick it right in the middle, and you're going to save $1 million if you just consolidate your purchasing to those middle suppliers instead of using 30. And they were blown away. So that got us the job. And we were able to do that throughout their whole part master. We were able to do that and give them really some insights on their data. And it really stemmed from our cross-reference capabilities and how we can look across different suppliers. If the part fits, you can use it. So let's see what the pricing is.
Wow, that's extremely powerful. And what was that $1 million part?
It was actually a filter.
A filter.
Yeah,
wow.
A fuel filter.
So a fuel filter costs what, $20?
Yep, varies. Well, heavy duty is a little more. It's probably about 40, but
about $40. but they were buying the fuel filter from different places at different price points. But you were able to use your cross-referencing tool to say, hey, buy it from this particular dealer or this place, right? This shop at one price, and you'll be able to save $1 million over what amount of time?
That was a year.
Like about a year
to the year
annually.
But we felt that we could have done it. We could have done a different model, probably saved them every quarter. But
wow,
the model was a year.
Okay. And then you were able to do that for other parts as well. You started kind of digging a little bit deeper into other parts also.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, it was quite an exercise, and that really showed us that we were on the right track as well.
No, that's really interesting. And do you do this is this something you do typically for fleets? Is this one of your services, one of your products?
It's one of our services, correct. We do professional services, so we do custom data work. We call it data cleansing. We also do custom cross-referencing for their parts that they're trying to sell. So we have an e-commerce solution as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we do with our data, not just provide a cross-reference.
And how long does that process typically take?
It varies on the project. Some are small numbers, some are large quantities. So probably the worst case would be like a 6-month turnaround on 1 million records. But a lot of times we're working with 10 or 20,000 at a clip, and we can do that within a couple months.
So and how do you do it? So do you go in there, you just look at all their service records and just kind of go through them and do like a audit?
Basically, it's based on their part spend in the comparison we're speaking of. So they obviously have record of where they've bought parts, what the parts have been used on, what the part numbers are. So then we start to do analysis on that and try to find overlap capabilities within their own data.
Do they keep good records? I could imagine that could be challenging, just like getting those records, right? Like everybody is not really organized.
Well, I just mentioned that we do data cleansing. So we do overlap studies and everything, but we also have to clean the data first. So a lot of companies use us while they're changing systems. They want to only put good data into their new system. So we'll do a data cleansing on their old. And probably 25% of that project is telling them what to throw out. You don't need to keep this information, right? It's not valid. You haven't purchased it in this many years, so just don't worry about it. So that's telling in itself. It's not always cleaning a part number and making sure that we can get cross references. That's telling them this isn't worth looking at again. Take it out of your master. So there's a lot of things that we can do.
Okay. What are you guys working on? What's some interesting things that you see coming down the road that's interesting to you that, can be kind of innovative, or what are some new projects that you guys have your eyes on?
Yeah, so they're wide and varied. So a lot of it, as I mentioned, between the light duty and the heavy duty, it's a little bit different space out there. Think of the consumer base for passenger car and then commercial base for medium and heavy duty trucks. So it's a kind of different industry, different ways to handle it. But the data obviously is very similar. And I think what we're doing is spending more and more time and development and machine learning, AI, whatever moniker you want to put on it, and trying to really standardize that from a passenger car to a heavy truck. So if you're working on a brake drum for a truck, here's that. Oh, and you can look at a brake drum for a Chevy Caprice as well. So it's all in the same standard. So that's really some of our recent goals, is to better standardize medium and heavy into the ultimate standard, which is our motor standard. So that's continuing. And again, the machine learning and AI is helping in that. We're doing a lot with, people who are using our data. What can we glean from that information? How are the repairs being done? And then what parts are they using? How long are they taking? So we're starting to look at the end use data to determine, where the priority should be for one thing, as well as determining maybe our labor times are off. Maybe we keep seeing this repair. It's supposed to take 2 hours. It keeps saying it's taking 3. Well, that raises a flag so our team can start doing studies. So there's so many things now that we can do with the data and the capabilities today with technology. So we're continuing to exploit that as much as possible.
That's pretty interesting. How does that feed loop work between you Motor and its customer base? Like how do people communicate the information back to you guys so you guys could then improve on the data?
Yeah, we're tied in with different systems, and they provide the information from and it's all anonymized, so it's just the core information, and that's the work we work on that data to standardize it and see where we fit in the industry.
Okay. How about with EV? What do you guys? What's going on in that space for you guys?
Yeah, and passenger car light truck, it's expanding a lot faster. So there's more EVs on the road. So we work with the major EV companies to get their vehicle information standardized and in the motor world or motor set of data. So that's continuous. And on the heavy duty side, it's out there, and we're definitely familiar. The medium duty or the box truck style EVs are out there, and we're gathering information. We have been working with a few of the new EV companies to start standardizing their data before they even present it to the end users. And a lot of it has been before the trucks have been on the road. But there are a lot of major fleets out there are using EVs, and inevitably that data is coming across our desk, and we're standardizing and putting it in our system.
Got it. Do tariffs or like the political climate impact you guys at all? Like, with things and coming across and auto parts and things like that. How does that impact your information, or does it at all?
Yeah, I think tariffs just impact everything. Some positive, some negative. So there's a little bit of everything. Specifically, we don't make or build parts, so we don't have to worry about tariffs on steel and things like that. But our customers do. So our customers are dealing with it, and so we're either there to help them navigate that and maybe give them a different product set or a different project for them to help them navigate around it. Think about, supply chain shortages and things like that. They need alternatives. Well, we can help with that. And then the other side is, just tariffs in general. I know our president did a whole webinar around tariffs and just talked about how we can help. Really, the key is we have some data that we can help you get through this, give you alternative opportunities, and find out how you might be able to navigate it. So we can help our customers for sure. But it's not, just economy in general.
It doesn't directly impact you.
Yeah, not direct.
But it impacts your customers for sure.
Correct.
Okay. Got it. All right, cool. So what is the, we kind of talked about the future in which you guys are working on building. I like to always, as we kind of start bringing everything to a wrap, what is some, kind of advice that you can give to our carriers out here as it relates to like what they should be doing to kind of, to kind of, be thinking like ahead of like, as it relates to like maintaining their vehicles and so forth and so on? Like what's the proper approach to that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, just getting the right information. Maybe the fleets have relationships with the local dealers, but I know some dealer capacities are stretched. So they may have to go to the aftermarket for repairs. So we can provide information to help them get there. They can get, alternate parts information, labor times that are not necessarily warranty, and repair information that's standardized. So we can help them in a lot of ways to to make it more efficient to run their fleet, because they don't want to fix their fleet. They just want to run the miles, right? They want to carry load. That's really what they're on the road to do. That's what they love. Right. So let's try to get the maintenance out of the way.
Is there any advice you give around maintenance, like things that you see people doing wrong?
I don't get too much exposure in the shop environment, actual fleet repairs and things like that. So I'm going to leave it up to my fleet managers that they kind of know what they're doing, especially if they're using our data.
Okay. Got it. All right. And is there anything that you'd want to share about, about Motor or what you guys are working on that I didn't ask?
No, I think we talked about everything. I mean, we're really, like I said, grasping onto the AI and this future of, what does that mean and how can we make things better with it? And ultimately, how do we make our end users more capable to fulfill what they need for their customers?
Got it. And what is the best way to engage with Motor services and products that you guys offer?
Yeah, really, our website is great. So motor.com has a lot of information about all our products. And then also there's means to get a hold of us directly on that, whether it's through a link or fill out a little form. We can definitely get back to you on that. You can also reach out to me directly, PMOSZAK at motor.com. PMOSZAK at motor.com, and I can direct you to the right people and help you out.
Sounds good. And as we close out, we always end off with a final thought. And that is just basically something, there's a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that watch this and listen to this show. So what advice can you give our business owners just kind of as we part?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, takes me back to the 90s when people were telling us, hey, we need this, we need that. And so it really became, what problems can we solve for the end user? And if you can focus any of your future products on what that problem is solving, or solving a problem for a customer, that's going to make your product or make your anything you're doing important for that customer. So it's going to make you successful. So one thing that we try very hard, and as I'm involved in this as much as I can and evangelizing for the heavy duty, is, what are the problems out there? What are the new problems, and how can we address them and make our end users successful?
Got it. Are there any problems that you see on your radar? If there was something to solve for that you would say, hey, this is a business that you should think about starting?
Because
I know you have that entrepreneurial spirit in mind. So what problems do you see out there?
You have me tongue-tied. I'm trying to think of a couple of things, but
I love ideas.
Think of anything specific.
Nothing specific right now?
Nothing specific.
Okay, but they're out there, though. There's always problems to solve.
Yep, always problems to solve.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Paul MOSZAK, the truck, heavy-duty truck evangelist from Motor. Man, thank you so much today for coming on and sharing all this information and insight. We really appreciate it. Make sure you go follow Paul on LinkedIn and check out motor.com, MOTOR.com.
That's it.
Check out motor.com for more information and more data. Hustle fam, you know what we do around this time. If you smell something burning, it's only a desire. Myself and Paul, we are signing off, and we're out. I want to introduce to you guys the Truck and Hustle Entrepreneurs Community, a powerful network built for transportation and logistics entrepreneurs by transportation and logistics entrepreneurs who really get it. Whether you're just getting started or looking to build, grow, and scale, TNHEC gives you the roadmap and resources to make it happen. From business planning to real industry connections, expert insights, and a support system that wants to see you win, we've got you covered. Nah, this isn't another Facebook group. This is Truck and Hustle's first ever official community, and it's designed for your success. So, If you're serious about growing your business in transportation and logistics, now is the time. Join the Truck and Hustle Entrepreneurs community today, and let's build something special and amazing together. Let's go. All right, guys, if you love Truck and Hustle and you love the interviews and the information that we're providing week to week, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. All right, Hustle fam.